Step number 8, bank failures. In the end, a worldwide fog of uncertainty swallowed up the financial services industry. Nobody knew the extent of the problem, how bad it was, or who owned it. Some feel we still don't know. Have a nice day.
The enormity of this situation, like a financial nuclear holocaust.
Some 400-odd billion of credit default swaps.
Another government bailout, AIG securing an $85 billion...
AIG could not conceivably have paid off all of those credit derivatives because it had misunderstood the risks and did not have what we'd call a balanced book or nearly enough capital to back their losses.
Didn't everybody know that AIG was holding a lot of CDSs?
No, there was no disclosure. That's the whole point. And they haven't reported this to anyone else. The other dealers have no idea what's going on. The other banks don't know. Nobody knows. The banks turn this market into their own private game.
It was, in fact, a financial shell game where we were manipulating banking results by moving the risk out through one door, but bringing it back into the banking system by another door. The risk was not leaving the banking system. And everybody in the world was connected through these chains of risk. And if any part of that chain breaks down because they can't honor the contract, the entire system implodes.
The idea dreamed up by a group of young J.P. Morgan bankers at a weekend retreat many years ago was supposed to reduce risk.
Their original idea had been taken and it turned into a Frankenstein monster, which they never dreamt would become so big and spin out of control to that degree.
It was a very scary time. We were in totally new territory. And the notion that Lehman Brothers could be filing for bankruptcy and AIG could be at risk of the same fate was absolutely unprecedented. And the implications, thinking through the implications of that for the health, not just of the US economy, but the world, well, I mean, it wasn't really conceivable to do that. I couldn't get my mind around it. I know others couldn't.
We never saw it coming. We never saw that coming. And I was disappointed, hugely disappointed. I mean, I was part of a market that I believed was doing the right thing. And maybe I was idealistic, maybe I was young, maybe I didn't fully appreciate where we were going, but there was a whole system going on all the way from the borrower of the mortgage all the way through to the investor. There's a whole system of people who maybe we're turning a blind eye, maybe we're, you know, just, I don't know. It's frustrating to see, certainly.
It shouldn't have happened. Most of our financial crisis in the past is due to some macroeconomic event, an oil disruption, a war. This was caused by a few institutions, about 20, who, in my opinion, lost all credibility relative to managing their risk. And the sad thing is it should never have happened. The management should have stopped it before it got big, and people were suffering for something that should never have happened.
Today, the fallout is felt mostly in places that had seen the highest growth, like Georgia. Ground zero of the subprime crisis, local neighborhoods, city streets.
Cities throughout the United States are seeing a rise in vacant and abandoned properties. And that's where the neighbors feel it. As neighbors, we're concerned not so much with the complexities of the subprime mortgage market and derivatives. These things we will hardly ever understand. What we feel on the street is the fact that the house next to us is vacant, abandoned, partially burned, and we wonder how long it's going to be there, how long we will pay the price for that abandonment. A neighborhood cannot survive long when it has a growing inventory of vacant and abandoned properties.
Sometimes, no one even knows who owns the properties.
It's hard to know who owns it because it's been sliced and diced so many ways by investors that it could be somebody in Ireland who owns it.
You have the securitized pools where investors own pieces of it. The investors are around the world, literally, and so it's just in no person's land. It's a vacant property, mostly vandalized, and it just sits here, and we can't do anything with it. And the reality is that that plays out across this neighborhood hundreds of times.
That house has a loan that is somewhere lost in a huge financial vehicle put together by some young Turks on Wall Street. It's lost in that billion-dollar package because there's nobody assigned to look after it. And there are whole subdivisions like this, by the way, that are just lost in this great morass. And so it affects Main Street because Wall Street was too greedy. The greed of Wall Street broke Main Street.
And so I turned to one, we recessed, and I said, "You look like the world has ended." And he said, "I think it has."